confidence. So yeah, I think we probably see a different Fury here. But honestly, I'm not writing Knights off. You know, who knows at the end of the day? The social vote says it all. 56-44. Very close in terms of what everybody thinks is going to happen. It's a difficult one to call.
Well, really to get the turn by this first map. I think I'm with you. If Fury can walk away with that one, I'd expect them to take Skyscraper as well. But Border is just one of those chaotic maps that you just don't really know which way it's going to go from the outset. Fury start on the defensive side, Knights on the attack. And that reminder again, they are playing for a spot in the rest of the Atlanta Major. Loser goes home after just one day at the Atlanta Major.
Let's get into these operator bans then. Fury, Dokkaebi, that's the third map that I've seen today and the third Dokkaebi ban that I have seen today. Dokkaebi's ban rate skyrocketing here at Atlanta so far. You know, I'm not saying she was never banned, but a little bit of an outlier sometimes. Hibana is going to go. Interesting choice for Border. Usually for Hibana, you're looking towards things like hatch play. There's not an awful lot on Border, I suppose, when you're attacking downstairs, maybe a little bit. But quite often, it's sort of 50-50 as to whether the defenders open those hatches for their own rotations.
I don't think it's the end of the world, because on this map, because there's not a lot of things to like open up as a hard breacher, you can afford to bring along a non-hard breacher and take along a hard breach gadget for hatches, for example. And there's things like Ace on side that you know is going to get picked up. Like, we were speaking about this earlier on, we saw a team bring along 3 hard breachers. Ace isn't really a support player like by any convention now. It's more that it's actually an entry, just with a little bit of opening work to do in the early stages of the round. It's why you see a lot of entries around the world playing that operator. So I think here all you're going to see is Ace slot into what Hibana would have been in, and there'll be no real questions to be asked. So not 100% sure about the theory behind that ban, but it's a ban that's come through nonetheless. And then Fenrir and Valkyrie coming out as our last two. Fenrir has seen a few bans today. That's the second Valkyrie ban that I've seen as well, for example. We've only cast 3 maps each, Tim.
This is it. There's a long way to go yet. There is a long way to go. And we do tend to see a lot of repetition. We touched on it for maps, but it goes for bans as well. In the first couple of days of majors, we do tend to see, you know, those same trends creeping in from team to team to team, because ultimately, you know, people don't want to show too much. And when we start getting a little bit deeper into the tournament, that's when we see those different sort of ideas and strategies come into the surface, especially when we get those new teams come in, of course, of Phase 2. We will have a whole new host of teams joining us at that point of the competition, along with whoever makes it out of Phase 1, which will be half of these teams.
Absolutely. Well, let's get things underway then. Already, I thought we'd lost 4, but now it's just 2. I'm going to say they lost 2 drones. Maybe there's more lost, but we're going to go with 2. And that's the effect of the Assault. I mean, the frustration, I was talking to Pengu a bit about this yesterday, actually, and the frustration that you get with Solus these days is it does force the attackers to leave their drones outside the building, which largely defeats the purpose of having drones to play with during the prep phase. You may as well just sit there for 45 seconds, have a swig of coffee or whatever your beverage of choice is, and then get into the game, because you really can't pick up much information without throwing those drones away. So maybe with her being so powerful, you'll see more of those bans starting to creep in over time as the tournament goes on as well. But for now, there are just other strong things to think about. That Fenrir especially, a real sticking point for some teams. Monty though, Tim, I think whenever we see a Monty, we know what's going to happen. It's generally going to be the team stacking up for 2 or 3 players, pushing into the same direction behind that Monty and trying to do a little bit of work. BLK opening up with the first kill onto Lycolis.
Yeah, BLK did a great job earlier on, to be fair, against Dark Zero. So expecting big things out of him here. He's a player that Knights can try to work in behind. He's going to get you those openers. Crit J just taking a bit of damage as well, face to face with the Monty now. Surely his time is limited. Indeed it is. BLK once again in with the double kill, giving Knights a big advantage on this attack. I tell you what, they are not messing about at this point, but Dark, he manages to shut down one. If he finds that second shot, maybe things are a little bit different, but BG Man, he can find it, takes out BLK, leaves us in a 2 versus 3.
Dark had a few big rounds earlier against G2, to be fair, is actually what got Fury on the board, and at least 2 of them themselves. So keep an eye out for him. I think he'll probably be one of the key players in this matchup, even though he's running around with the UMP. I mean, we all know what Canadians said about that gun, so you can't really write it off. But 3 versus 2, shield still online, nade still to play with, flashes in back pocket, track still to deploy. There's just so much to bring on this map, and I think when you're thinking about Border, actually, in the current meta we're in, where Gridlock is in because she now has frags and she's got so many tracks to play with, and alongside an air jab, like the air jabs of Nomad, It's going to be horrific to try and get flanks off on this, but that's exactly what they've done, Tim. BG Man has managed to get into a good spot and bring things down to a 2v2, but they are still against the Monty.
Yeah, Diffuser goes down as well, so Knights really have everything in hand. Something that we saw against Dark Zero was them not winning rounds that maybe they should have done sometimes. So I want to see them do this differently here against Fury. You've got it down, you've got your shieldy boy stood in front of it. You've got to lock this round out. 15 seconds left. If Fury want to have the time to be able to do anything about this, they'll lose one. It's getting more and more difficult. It's all up to the Warden. BG Man's doing everything he can. Out goes the nade, but no, there comes the final kill. It's going to be up to the Monty just to apply that melee strike with the shield, close things out, and that is a good first round from Knights. Some real aggression from them there. Really well played.
Yeah, well, surprised no one there that BLK's had a good start to the round and really dragged them through with a 3K off the back of it. Good start and good amount of aggression being shown. I really feel part of the concern there was the right idea existed for Fury, but the deployment of it wasn't quite the way to go. We had that player that was sat at the top side, for example, up towards a single window inside of Office, and we had support from Dark, who was playing on Fountain through the soft wall. But what actually happened was when they lost that player at the top side, someone then bolted through in and killed, I think it was Crit, who was playing inside of Office itself, just like this healer. But there was no real ability for Dark to capitalize and get rid of BLK. So he was in a real power position this whole time, uncontested, because Fury weren't throwing enough resources over towards this east side of the top floor. And so it was a bit too easy, I think, for them to get the march in there. I think this time around you've either got to see a stronger defense coming out or be willing to play back and play with greater numbers in a safer position.
Going to be going to the bathroom and Teller's site then this time around, not wanting to double down on Armory. Fury going to mix things up. Got a little bit of a presence downstairs in Customs, not too much of a surprise, and a few players just going for some setup on the top floor. Going to be trying to hold on to Office, we would expect. Dark just looking to prevent a bit of access into CCTV by the looks of things as well, as that floor opened up. Just literally trying to hold on to the entire top floor. Not always the case. We're going to see that castle barricade destroyed in quick fashion by the attackers there, and it looks like I don't think the castle is too keen on staying too solidly in place in CCTV. He's got his rotation, he's dipping in and out of it, he's being cautious.
You know me, Tim, I love seeing castles brought along on any map, really. Just helps really transform the way that sites are playing, unless you can get like a sledge up nice and close, of which there isn't one on side here. There is a bunch of breaching charges being brought along for the vertical play. They've got the ability with the Ash to blow things through, or just plain old standard walk up to it and punch it to death with the fear of being shot in your feet as you go along. And I saw where they had it positioned. It was inside a break room itself, exactly around here, with a very small rotation opened up just behind the Solus, as you saw there. So they're really trying to transform how that part of the map is being played, let them play it a little bit differently and be a bit more mobile to challenge into the attackers as they come running forwards. It does mean that Dark has got a lot of safety here to be able to play in and around this area easily, but from below, Tuku's there, and again, right idea, but the execution simply is not right. How has Tuku hit that second shot as well? Gets one more for himself onto BG Man. CritJ finally gets the trade out, but the damage has been done.
CritJ just didn't know where that next bit of pressure was coming from. He thought it could be a couple of directions. BLK just nearly misses that opportunity. Always worth mentioning, obviously, you know, we're watching in a set resolution with, you know, certain field of view. That's not always the same for the players. So when we see things like that, it may well be that it's not as clear for them on
That's Tim's very angelic way of saying ignore Des, he's a moron, basically.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that sometimes it's not quite as clear cut for the players.
Why don't you love me?
Because it's easy for us to scream, oh, you see his head! But maybe they don't always see his head. But BLK gets the kill nonetheless. Knights get the round, and they are, at the minute, looking better than they did against Dark Zero. I've got to say that. They're showing us the best that they showed us against Dark Zero, but then they're not having those sort of errors in the late round where they were giving rounds away that maybe they should have won. But I think, you know, much as I said Knights were going to enjoy, Fury were going to enjoy a little bit more freedom against Knights than they did against G2. It's very true to say it in the reverse as well. Knights are not going to be under the same pressure necessarily that Dark Zero put them under. They're not going to get punished the same, you know, for maybe little mistakes that get made along the way. But Knights so far looking very, very good. 2-0, impressive stuff.
It's BLK season, mate. He's got 6 kills.
Honestly, it was exactly the same earlier on that Haven. It was just ridiculous. So definitely one to watch if Knights continue on in the tournament.
Same again from Fury, though. Clearly they like the setup they had before, and this is what I spoke about, right? With the barricades that came down inside a break room, the one inside of the hallway just lets you be a bit more mobile back in towards Office quite safely. Really on the attacking side is where you look to them and saying, okay, then now you want to try and get rid of them, make them uncomfortable, block block off that line entirely. If you take out the one that's inside of the red corridor, for example, you completely deny that ability to rotate from security back in towards office. So far going ignored, and I can't imagine that will change too much, because given the comp we've got coming into this round of the attack of the Glaz and the Ying alongside each other, that just screams execute heavy to me, Tim. You're going to see this Glaz get into a power position. You'll see smokes and candelas going absolutely everywhere, and he should, touch wood, pop off.
Yeah, I'm liking seeing the confidence coming out tonight. They're willing to just push the site. They're willing to just get straight in there and take gunfights and try and get a job done so far in these first couple of rounds. And if they continue, they're 2-0 up against Fury. Fury may well not respond to it. You know, we see this quite often, that teams just come out kind of punch drunk. You know, they come in, everybody's got a plan till they get hit in the face there. And right now, Fury are looking like they've been hit in the face. And, you know, maybe the plan is starting to crumble. Tom's going to be watching from that open window. They are trying to get in for this Archives plant, but for the time being, the toxic babe canisters are going to keep them at bay.
That's what they're trying to do, is draw those out. All they've done is consume half of their utility. They've still got 2 smokes left and still got 2 candelas. Another smoke coming out, so the Glaz can start getting to work. This really is where Atlas has now got to dump all of his utility in towards Sandwich to draw some fire and attention over there, and then the execute comes inside of Archives. But no one has made that move, and these keeper barriers, so frustrating. It's 2 or 3 times now Tom has been blocked off, which really renders those smokes largely useless, to be honest.
5 versus 4, then Fury with the advantage here and just stalling out a little bit nice. For the first 2 rounds, they've looked very good, but everything kind of has gone their way. You know, the question is, can they get it done when they start facing that adversity, facing those obstacles? For the time being, Tom, he's just giving it a little jiggle peek. It's not going to matter. There's no jiggle enough to keep him alive there as BG Man shuts him down, but BLK is on hand for the trade. 4 versus 3. Knights keeping themselves in this one, but not really making progress in towards site. They don't have much map control. This is going to be a tough one from here.
Well, here we go. Candela comes in as well. That'll be a couple of white screens, but not the one inside of Fountain that Atlas is rounding onto. Just so close every time. A few pixels between them. I9 finding one more, but BLK is on the march. He could tear them apart here if they don't know, but they do know. Only one left. It is going to be a first round win for Fury with what looks like a pretty solid defense overall, Tim.
Yeah, it was a little bit better from them. I think they managed to... they've probably just found a little bit of the answer there, and that is they stood up to that early round aggression from Knights. They didn't let them get in and do what they wanted to do, which from Knights was to get in and get that diffuser down. So Fury had the answer to that, and once they'd slowed Knights down, that was when they were able to win the round. So for me, the answer there is, you know, waste a bit of time for Knights. I'd maybe like to see, you know, let's bring a few more traps along. Let's have a Frost in there. Let's have a Legion in there. Let's bring the barbed wire. Let's just do everything we can to try and slow Knights down in the first minute and a half, 2 minutes. Let's make them think on their feet. Let's make them play plan B, plan C. Because to me, their Knights stalled out a little bit. When they didn't get in through that Archives door, when they didn't get that diffuser down, when they wanted it down, that's when they started to struggle, and Fury took full advantage of it.
Absolutely. So you've seen a little bit of both teams there. Again, I always like to give 3 rounds to see teams warm into a game first to really see what's going on. Normally, if a team goes down 0-3, you'll then see a tack timeout coming in because you've seen the 3 primary sites that a team wants to play on the defensive side. You'll see a conversation coming in. They'll change some things around. And in what I normally call that second quarter is that's when you really see how a game might play out. But as always, I always say as well, Tim, 2 halves to a game of Siege. You don't know what's going to happen when Fury get onto the attacking side. So we'll wait for that before really drawing full judgment on how this game can close out. It has been BLK season so far in that first quarter. Going into these next couple of rounds, I am hoping we're going to see some players on Fury. BG Man already putting a name in for himself to be someone that can rival that performance.
Well, this is always a problem. If you've got one player, you know, it works both ways. We can look at it and say there's not many kills available for everybody else if BLK is hoovering them up. But at the same time, is it just that BLK is getting them all? And if he stops, nobody's going to step up. And, you know, we'll see. Again, if that's something that Fury can kind of target going through to shutting him down, then maybe they have a little bit of a momentum shift. But we've got to remember, it's difficult defending on border as well. You know, once the attackers get in the building, it's generally possible for them to win those rounds. So, again, any defensive rounds that Fury can come away with, I honestly think if they can get a 3-3 and they move on to the attack, they'll probably feel like they can get the win from there. So Fury right now Can they build on this? Can they get a little bit of momentum? For me, they want another entry kill here, and they nearly get it, and they do, and who else? I9 takes down BLK, and what a great start for Fury.
Finger must have slipped, must have thought he was safe there, but either way, he drops out of ADS, and BLK really pays the price for it too. But great response from Fury. 2 players in close proximity as well, ready to play for the trade if needs be. You're seeing it again here between these two, with Dark and I9 just set up, ready to take firefights together. And then you've also got the Capcan not too far away at the top of main stairs. So a nice little trio here, able to very quickly support each other and play for trades. Knights have been trying to work their way through with 4 players on the east side of the map as well, but they've got to come up against this trifecta of chaos that are ready to deal with them.
Lycolis is just going to be sitting in the showers for the time being as the mute. Look at that, absolutely free. And that is something that we saw of Knights earlier. I'll touch on it a little bit more, possibly further, but they've got 1 drone left, Des, and playing without information was something that they fell foul of against Dark Zero. Tom does manage to find himself stood in the middle of sight, though, and I don't think that Fury were aware of that. Does manage to do some damage. All of a sudden, we've got a shift here. We've got a swing in manpower. It's 3 versus 2, but I9 playing up above on the Solis. He could be a real deciding factor if Tuku isn't able to deal with him.
They needed bathroom control for him to be able to recover the diffuser that's just inside the office window. So sure, you've got some form of site control here, but you've still got Crit to deal with, who's sat lurking in the shadows of the servers.
Oh!
What a shot on Tikiridates! That's amazing! 1 more left. It's into a 1v1. Tuku coming up against Crit. What a round this has been. So back and forth, but the clock, sadly, working against Tuku here. He's got to try and find his man. Zero idea where he is. No diffuser, no time, no hope of taking this round. Unless, no! Nearly found his man, but just holds on. That's unreal.
I was just about to say...
I was like, no way he vaults us and goes sprinting into his face, but he did, no way.
I was just about to say, all Crit needs to do here is just keep himself out of the way and alive. And then all of a sudden, he must have been spotted on
He's doing his best Harry Potter impression,
I would say a drone,
Tim.
but they only had 1 left. He just, I don't know, maybe he just drops and thinks, I'm just going to have to check that angle and try and get into sight. But, oh, one way or another, it nearly happened, but Fury able to close it out. That puts them 2-2. And maybe just a little bit slow for them starting into this game, but 2 defensive rounds in a row on border ain't bad.
No.
And they are looking much better in 3 and 4 than they did in 1 and 2.
They're looking very structured. It's again why I like to wait a few rounds before really drawing a full assessment on a team, or at least starting to form a solid opinion, because in those first couple of rounds, the things that I remarked on was the timing was slightly off. Right idea, just wrong execution. They were playing in the right spots, the trades weren't really coming through at the right time, people were looking the wrong way at the wrong moments, little things like that. Whereas these last couple of rounds, I think you've really seen them start to sync up. One, Crit's winning some fantastic firefights. That was disgusting. But he's got 3 kills himself there. Nice little flick on towards the Ash as she comes round in the corner too. But outside of that, I just think looking a lot better, like Cola's getting that kill from below, for example. That really was what led to that end of that round, because the diffuser was then down inside the office window, unrecoverable because they didn't have control of bathroom. Just really that initial instance in the first 45 seconds or so snowballed towards that 1v1 at the very end of the round. Love this, by the way. Sen's coming out. Really don't get to see the operator all that often anymore.
No, not at all.
Anymore, like they were ever popular.
I mean, it's, I think, pretty niche, especially with Warden being played so much.
Yeah.
As I know Warden's not being played here, but, as Warden has been played more and more, I think it's more difficult to build that gadget into, many executes. Tuco is going to be down outside, but how about that? BLK is there not only for the kill, but could pick his man up as well. What great cover coming in from the Ying.
Just wants to drop off there so don't get run out on as soon as the res tries to come through. I mean, that feels like
from Knights.
I think that's great, but also a bit of a fluff from Crit as well.
Yes.
Like, that south balcony is going to have 2, maybe 3 players on it early in the round, trying to get control, droning out east stairs, checking out break room, things like that. You know full well there's a trade coming in if you try and round that corner and run out to try and get a kill. Like, at this level of play, it's just simply unfathomable that a player would be completely by themselves, and they've paid the price for it. Now the march on comes through. It's BLK looking to make use of that rotation, has managed to get in here behind everything, and they won't know because the sound of those candelas going off would have cleared out, or sorry, at least muted over the sound of the vaulting. he could be in a real good position here to do some serious damage.
I still kind of feel like the longer rounds go on, the more chance Fury have got of winning them, and I don't mean that in terms of, yes, defenders win based on time. That's not what I'm saying. I feel like the Knights have won rounds quickly and aggressively, but where they've had to think and pick apart the defense as the round's gone on, they've struggled more. So within the first 2 minutes, Diffuser going down, it looks good for them. BLK will be taken out along the way, but it takes the eye off the ball, and Atlas gets that Diffuser down. 4 versus 4 now. They've got a setup outside. They're looking pretty good here, playing in and around those Sense gadgets as well. Couple of kills come in. This is almost done for Knights. BG Man starts fighting back, gets 1 of 4 that he's going to need, but the clock is ticking down. He's up against it now. Not going to be easy from here.
Nah, in the spot where he's got just fine one through the top 4, but gets finished off at the very end. Yeah, I feel like BLK did all the work needed necessary there, getting in upstairs. His job wasn't necessarily to kill everyone inside of Office. It was more just to get into a spot to be able to, bless her, Katie, one of our player admins, having to step in there and say, guys, chill, chill. It's cool, it's cool. It's still a big game to play. But it's a position there where BLK was more for running distraction up on the top floor, just being in a position to challenge, not necessarily win a gunfight, but challenge and take their attention away from the hatch and on the plant going down on site itself. So it isn't always about getting kills. Sometimes it's just the attention soak that you have on the other side. It's a technical timeout, so players aren't meant to speak during this time. I think that's the warning they were getting. So give us a couple of minutes and hopefully she'll be back into things. Here's a few replays though, and this is what I mean. Cover is always going to be there. He tried to actually get the impact kill rather than any kind of jump out or anything crazy. Just didn't quite find his man. I think it must have hit the window ledge instead.
Yeah, I think it's all about timing. When you've got a player down, they obviously had a good idea that they were down out there. You want to put that impact nade out, you want to have a look, you want to get that kill, because ultimately, yeah, you want to take them out of the round, but it's all about timing and just maybe trying to predict whether somebody's coming in to try that resuscitation. At the end of the day, you can net 2 kills if you get it right. So it's always a big gamble, but just didn't work out for Grit there. But as I've said, I feel like if a round is won at the minute within the first 2 minutes, it's Knights that win it.
Yeah.
If it comes down to being won in the final minute, it's Fury that wins it. It's like if Knights can't get it done in that first couple of minutes and they're having to sort of go back to the drawing board and adapt, it doesn't really happen for them the same. So for me, Fury just need to focus in round 6, wasting as much time as possible, you know, burning Knights out if you can, get them towards the end of the clock. That's where you've had more success.
Feels to me like it comes off momentum, really, for Knights, is the best way I can describe it. They find 1 kill, they roll it into a second, they take good space, and it really just snowballs towards that round win. Whereas I think I'm with you, where we've seen Fury slow them down, disrupt them early in the round, that's when you've seen them come out on top. But it's going to be our last round of the half. We are going to Customs and Supply, Tim. And after that, we'll do a little switcheroo, and Knights will go on to the defensive side, and we'll get to see that second half, the elusive one that I keep on talking about, to see what Knights can bring to this map. Castle on side once again, though. Again, seeing there's an awful lot in this half of Fury, just really helping to transform how parts of the map are played, make it easier for the defenders to roam in certain areas, to open up more mobile corridors where you know you're not about to get tagged at long range. So see more of that once more.
10 seconds to insertion.
Just got, again, that utility to stop the information game. Knights have struggled against Dark Zero. We saw it going in sometimes, not aware of everybody's position, not playing in behind enough information. We've seen rounds here where they've had 1 drone remaining, and again, very limited utility in terms of that information game. So we've got the Mute, we've got the Mozzie. They're going to be trying to lock down that top floor, I would imagine. We will have quite a few of those gadgets, because what that's doing is creating a lot of black spots. It's creating a lot of difficulty for Knights to go in. They can't get the drones in, and they've got to go through and face check things. So straight away, we've got the Brava drones going in, looking to grab informational gadgets, looking to grab those cameras, you know, looking to level the playing field in those terms. Oh, the nade just misses.
Dangerously low, and there's 2 of them there as well. I mean, the C4's in place, but they just want to get rid of this Mute Jammer, which I think they'll find out. It's still there. C4 over the top. Atlas almost losing his life as well. Down to half HP. A real scrap over jail so far. It's feeling like Hell in a Cell, Tim.
Yeah, it really is. BG Man's going to be holding that wall tight with the Bandit, but super low health at the minute. I assume he got hit by some of the nade damage as it came in to clear out that Mute Jammer. And we have a little exchange of bullets, but no damage done in either direction. Atlas did take that damage from the Nitro along the way. BG's going to actually dip himself a bit deeper into sight now to try and keep himself safe. And again, this Brava drone has just been raining around sight, just trying to get every bit of electronics that they can.
Yeah, got a couple so far as well, and Hopsfield was looking for more. Not too many to really find, only the 1 really available for hacking when you look at the secondary gadgets. Outside of that, it's jammers, it's pests, it's whatever else you want it to be. will instantly destroy any of the bandit batteries that are found. Only 2 have been deployed and used so far in the round. 2 more remain in back pocket. And there is a C4 still for Lycolis to make good use of. BLK getting himself into a good position. Crit being flashed to high heaven and will try and scramble towards the hatch, but simply cannot get there. And BLK going to find himself another angle to get down onto this ground floor here and give a little bit of threat onto the other side. But I9 is lurking. They've clearly missed this one, so he hasn't been droned out.
Crit just looking like he got up in the middle of the night there, just groping around trying to find that hatch, but couldn't get himself down. Dark does manage to take out BLK, but cannot find himself a second. I9 looking to get involved as well, finds one nearly inside of Archives, then nearly finds one inside of Armory. He's doing a great job of just locking down this top floor, and it's going to be something that Knights need to clear out. We're into that final minute that I spoke about, Des, and that's where you feel like Fury have been the strongest so far.
It's such a killer, really, because I9's been in a couple of positions this game where he could have had a freebie or 2, but that's the 3rd time I've seen him miss what feels like a really easy kill to get. Yeah, that A should be dead to rights. The man's basically stationary. He's whiffed it a little bit, and sure, he's wasting time, but they can start looking in towards the side. Tuku almost having his head taken clean off his shoulders, but somehow is still standing. Lycolis rotating away, has been dropped onto the other side. Down he goes, and just like that, they've got the control that they need. There's still 2 left. The castle comes raining on in. They've got to get him down, Tim. There's only 5 seconds left to play. Goes to try and find one. It's a 3 versus 1. Plant is going down, and BG Man finds what he needs. Finds the man with the diffuser. They take the round win.
And we stay consistent. If it comes into that final minute and Knights have to scramble, that's when they have the difficulty getting it done. At the end there, 3 versus 1, and I know that it's difficult when you're at the end of the clock and the diffuser's going down and it only takes 1 bullet to stop it, but there just seemed to be a little confusion in that Knights team. There was 3 people sort of spinning around. 1 went for the diffuser. They didn't really know where the last defender was, and it was just all a little bit chaotic. And again, Fury were able to take advantage of that. I always love those finishes. I always come back to the one I remember for Pino, 1v5 on the top of Cafe, and it took 1 bullet to win a 1v5, and he just hit that headshot through onto the planter. Same situation there, just sprays down the plant spot, and that shows good communication on Fury's side, because they've already stopped that plant going down once. They know where the diffuser is. It's been communicated. So BG Man knows. He's been told the diffuser is between 2 metal desks. So then all he has to do is spray in that direction, and he gets the job done. Well played from Fury. 3-3 off on the defense. That's not a bad start for them.
I really feel like it was a bit of a Hail Mary from Knights, just throwing everyone in towards sites itself and just praying that through sheer numbers they come out on top. And really they did, but BG Man with that beautiful angle, as you say, Tim. We do get that side swap. I'm curious to see how Fury attack, because their attacks on Consulate earlier, bearing in mind, Consulate is their favorite map. They've played it 3 times since the start of September. They've won it every single time, 7-2, 7-0, 7-2. G2, it's not exactly their most popular map. They took them there and really made them look silly, because Fury's attacks were just a little bit lethargic, a little bit slow. You know, this is what we've seen as the theme, I think, so far of the day, is some of the weaker teams that we have here at Play-Ins are just... they're very slow in the first 90 seconds of the round at droning and getting map control, for example. Not always a bad thing, but you've got to leave yourself enough leg room to actually execute and close a round out as well. So I'm really keen to see how Fury do on their coordination as a team when it comes to attacking here on Border.
Doc's just going to be opening up that triple wall a little bit with the skeleton key, just trying to create an angle, make it uncomfortable inside of Office. Fury are, of course, attacking onto Armory to start with here. That's going to be the primary site choice for Knights. A couple of interesting... I mean, we quite often see the Doc inside of CCTV, so that's not too unusual.
This is, Tim. This is like
the Tuku on the alibi, I sort of look at and I think, yeah, maybe you like the gun, I guess. You know, it can be used as a little bit of denial for players coming in through windows, a little bit of a deterrent. But other than that, I think Tuku really needs to be looking to get some kills to be getting the most out of that operator selection.
Here's this like classic slow start that I mentioned from Fury. You know, half the round's gone and they're only just starting to get things opened up. They're only just starting to really make a push in. Sometimes, though, that one push in can be enough, and it's I9 getting rid of the Dark outside of CC. That's one of the big key anchors that you need removed, really, and should open up a lot of control on this top side of the map as they start thinking about the site.
It just gives them that beachhead to work in from I9, as you say, going well now, really starting to wake up. Tuku does shut down Dark, as suggested on the alibi. He needed to be finding them kills, and he is going to get the first. Might need some more, though, but he wasn't going to find them as Lycolis manages to take him down with a headshot. Tom peeks around, finds one from Fountain, just brings it back a little bit. 2 versus 3 now, playing the shotgun on the tight angles. Can he find himself another? No, not quite within range. Jade finds one elsewhere, but 1 versus 2, he's fighting hard, but shut down in Sandwich. It's going to be Lycolis with that final kill, and that's another round for Fury. 4-3 now on the scoreboard. They take the lead, and I feel like that could be a little bit of a blow for Knights.
Could well work out to be that way. I mean, again, I mentioned that it was the slower start from Fury, that I was a little bit nervous that we'd just see the round slowly grind out, be a panic finish. But really, I think once they got rid of the Dark, they understood, at least on the defensive side, they had to go on the aggressive. They were losing a lot of top floor control. The only things they really had left were the sites themselves. Even Fountain was looking a bit precarious, which is why Tom made that play once he got the first kill to blitz on forward, try and convert it into a second 1v1 before he got himself grouped up on. So nice play by Fury. Really, that dot kill for me opened up the entirety of that top floor, though. Knights probably want a bit more support in those key areas if they want to hold on to things like CC.
So we're going to go to Ventilation and Workshop for our second defensive site for Fury. They got the Frost on board. Sorry, it's the second defensive site for Knights, second attacking site for Fury. They've got the Frost on board, so they are looking to play that game of slow down a little bit, just try and force Fury to clear underneath every... We saw this work, actually, the double Frost mat. I think it was in exactly this location, although I'm not sure that second one is actually going to go down there without a little bit of reorganisation. But we saw the reason, if you're wondering why those 2 Frost mats, why place 2 under 1 window. As somebody comes through, they do have a good opportunity to shoot out 1 beneath there, but you cannot get 2. So it sort of almost guarantees, if they're not dealt with before coming in through that window, that 1 is going to snap shut on the ankle of somebody.
And so there's a little cross angles in towards West Main setup. Tuku's definitely in hot water here, is the way I describe it. He has got 3 players, not that he knows right now, but he will very soon. 3 players circling around CC. And once again, looking to be a bit of a contestation point for the attacking side. But you just saw it there. For Knights, they've got a player playing on 90, supporting inside of that room as and when required. So it's not just the 1 player. Great run out coming on through, and Tom's going to get that one for free. Yeah,
it just goes to show the power of Solis there. You can go out there confidently with information for yourself, knowing exactly where those shots need to go. BG Man does manage to close down Jerry with a headshot, leaving the Frost off the board 4 versus 4, but they do need to deal with Tom underneath. The Solis hasn't been approached yet. He knows that that diffuser is on the ground, so he knows they're going to have to play in there at some point. Fury seem to be ignoring him a little bit at the minute. They've got to go in, they've got to find him, they've got to get that kill, because otherwise this round is not likely to be theirs. They are still concentrating on that top floor clearance for the time being, but they just need to be very, very aware of that Solis.
Just a little too much to care about, and this is something I remarked earlier on when I think about teams like Sonics, is that every player is always doing something at seemingly every moment. They've got so much control, they're taking incredibly quickly, whereas here you've got a couple of players on the side of Fury. You can sit there and say, yeah, well, they're on drones, but equally there's a couple of players just kind of, you know, staring at the colour of the lights on the ceiling, for example, right now, waiting for the next call to come through on what they should do. And it's that wasted time, that wasted efficiency that is going to bite them. You know, they're in a spot where they've got now this top floor control established, they've pushed their way forward. Knights said, you know what, we're happy in a 4v4, we'll back out. We know because of the Solis that this diffuser is still down and outside. Now they've got it on side. This is where Tom could be a real headache causer if he gets this right.
Yeah, he's just waiting on this window. He knows that they're going to be playing in there once they've picked the diffuser up. They don't have much of a choice with 50 seconds left. So he's just waiting. If they give him an opportunity, he's double knocked that barricade already. So if they go on to drones, he's just going to jump out and he's going to get himself another kill on the outside of the map. And they can't allow that to happen. They need to be very, very careful. Tuku, as you say, just keeping himself off the radar upstairs. He's locked into a little corner and he's just going to wait for his moment. This is really well played by Knights, really patient.
Getting into West Main takes away so much of that top floor control. Sees his man with the gun, at least on the one side, will finally get rid of Tom. He's such a rat to deal with. Yeah, this is the problem. And this is what I meant. Tuku springs into action, goes across the gap almost, and just finds 2 up on that top floor. The fact that he was ignored inside of CC, they had this control earlier on, but he's managed to get himself into a great spot, probably through hopping up through the hatch as well. Didn't see it happen, but gets into a great spot where not only can he cut off West Main, but as you saw, he can cross in towards that other side of the map and get those couple of kills to close the round out. Between him and Tom, just an absolute headache for Fury in that round, and they've got to be so much better at keeping space when they take it. Welcome back, Anna. 3 rehosts.
We're ready to go. We're ready to go, Des. We're ready to go.
At this point, we're in a rehost chain. It's like a rehostception. I don't know how many more we can go through until we really go too far.
Within a rehost.
Within a rehost.
Each should get quicker, though, really, if that was the theory.
Yeah, that's true. In Inception, it was like each layer.
Yeah, each layer is like
an
hour becomes like 10 minutes in the next layer, becomes like a minute in the next layer, becomes like 5 seconds in the next layer. So you've got to be careful, because when you're down like 6 rehosts deep, then like 5 seconds is like 4 hours at the top end. So that's how it works.
So many
We're back in. We're back in the game, Des.
Hang on. Wait until it hits 0.
We're back in the game, Des.
Wait until it hits 0, Tim, please.
Prep phase of round 9. Knights and Fury here on Border. It's map 1 of this best of 3. If you're just joining us, Knights have won the last round, but it's been very back and forth so far. Neither team able to grab more than 2 rounds at a time. Fury did look like they were maybe taking a little bit of an advantage coming into the second half. It was 3-3 at the split, but then they got that round, went 4-3 up, but then haven't been able to back it up with a further attacking win. Knights managing to keep things level, so this one looks like it could go the distance. Both of these teams really going toe-to-toe at the minute, just raining blows on each other and able to answer back once the other looks like they're getting somewhere. So a great game that we're having so far.
Yeah, indeed. It genuinely has been really fun. And this is what I've been excited about, is I know this is seen as the, well, it is the elimination match. It is the weaker of the 2 teams that we have in every group taking place in these best of 3s that we've seen, both the ones that happened earlier and the ones that are happening now. But that does mean that you're seeing still quite an even level of competition, which makes things very, very fun. And you get to see some of the players normally you wouldn't see from around the world. Now, straight away, we're getting ourselves started up and trying to work on in. You can see someone's just poked their head just inside of the office windows. Tuku waiting to spring out and cause a little bit of chaos, but opportunity not presenting itself just yet.
No, I think he doesn't know necessarily exactly where that push is going to come from, so does the right thing, just going to hold his position for the time being. He's got that long angle through into break room, just trying to challenge all these different areas at the minute. Sees the pressure coming towards the top of these stairs. Like always, he's going to find himself down, and he's going to find himself finished off by a very long-range shotgun shot from Tom there.
What a right cheeky monkey he's been. Solus in the previous round, now muting this one as well, just trying to poke his head out and cause a few headaches. C4 in hand. Now leap over the top. No one to be found, as they are not quite present. I'm afraid they were outside the building. I9 really got to get himself involved in this game as well. Has missed a couple of real freebies. It's Dark's turn to miss out on the freebie. This time round at long range. Not managing to collect the Azami, playing inside a CC.
Just a reminder of the stakes on this game. The loser will go home. This is an elimination match, which is why it's best of 3, 3 versus 2. There's a couple of kills coming quickly for Knights. Tuku does find himself down, though. 2 versus 1 effectively now, as Fury find themselves a little bit of an advantage. 1 minute 15 left on the clock, Des. They've plenty of time, but what can the Azami do here? Just creeping into CCTV. I'm not sure that they're aware the diffuser's going down, and for the time being, Crit J is on the cover. Nade comes in. I think they know exactly where Jerry is. He's trying to push his way around, but no, Crit J with the pistol takes him down, and Fury managed to halt any momentum that Knights were trying to build. It's 5-4 now.
Crit J just styling on them kids. Pistol out there for that closing 1v1-2. All right, we get some momentum building. Fury back in that driver's seat, up to 5 and 4. It's hard to explain your theory of the whole round 9 is the most pivotal round earlier to Pengu. About how it can go towards being 6-3 or it can be 5-4.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Open to massive gulf of 3 rounds or 1.
3 rounds or 1 round is huge at this point in the game. You know, you've either got no mistakes left or you've got a lot of breathing space.
That is when the score is 5-3, obviously, and here now it's more to 5-4, but it's still kind of relevant because it keeps things pretty tight. But Fury are the ones who feels are at least in some kind of control. Quick tactical timeout here. This one, I believe, coming in for Knights, who their coach clearly feels, look, we've only got a couple more chances to get this right. Otherwise, we lose this map. We're going into Skyscraper next. It's Fury's map pick. You know, we've got to win Border. I imagine it's probably a very abbreviated version of what he was telling them now, just to try and get the boys excited.
Yeah, I think so. So we will finish that off and get back into game. We're going to have a couple of replays coming in. We can see Crit J doing the work with the pistol towards the end of that round. Great job, really. You know, sometimes you've just got to make the choice and stick with it and live with it. There you go. He just gets a little peek of the Azami, I think, which just helps the situation. Knows where that push is going to come from, so can pre-fire and take the fight before it arrives.
Alrighty, downstairs we go into bathroom, Tim. This is an interesting one. All right. how this one plays out. Looking towards that C4 on Tom, and I'm just thinking you're going to see him hovering out towards jail and just trying to catch whoever it is that's trying to work their way up onto the west side of the building and across. Do I think you'll see him blitzing out? Probably not, but trying to fish with the C4, 100%. So really where I think this is going to come down to is the damage that Fury can do onto him before he gets too disruptive in towards them. Quite a few trap operators on side as well. You've got the Fawn obviously coming in, the Legion there. Just a number of things that can trip up or slow down Fury here if they're not too careful. So they do need to be respectful of this setup coming out of Knights.
Yeah, playing the pulse underneath in Customs is a great choice, really. There's a lot of availability there to get that vertical nitro into CCTV and break. You can see already that Fury are pushing in towards that position. You know they're going to try and take CCTV and break. So, yeah, it can be really, really useful here. But opening jail wall is going to be a big part, and especially opening passport wall as well is going to make it very difficult. Tom, he needs to make a decision now, and it looks like that decision is to Scarpa.
Yeah, I think really he's here for information, right? Wants to keep himself alive here. Doesn't want to do anything stupid by hanging around too long and trying to scan that fourth player that he hasn't yet found. I mean, saying that, it's like Olis to blitz in and already remove 2 players incredibly quickly. Not a dream position to be in if you're Knights here, knowing that, again, you are down 4 to 5, that you've now lost 2 players. Looking pretty miserable. And you can see that line of destruction that the Ram Gadget has left through that soft flooring.
Yeah, we're going to have Dark just holding that long angle down in towards side. Tom just runs right on into I9. As you say, absolutely free. It just doesn't feel like Knights really know where this pressure is coming from, where the next fight is going to be finding them. Atlas is going to take down I9 there, gives them something to work with, I guess, but not much of a foundation as Dark is there. J gets the last. That's going to be round Fury. Not only is it the round, but it's also now map point, Des. And there is a real opportunity for Fury to take away that first map. I suggested if they were to take border, you feel good about them coming into Skyscraper. This could be a 2-0 for Fury if they can keep this going.
It could, but you just can't write it off. The number of times we've seen teams take each other's maps in a best of 3 is absolutely crazy. For me, though, that was the beautiful irony of a Pulse running around the corner blind and just being taken out by a player that has clearly been sat there waiting for him to rotate through into him. So a little bit of a biter. Need to see a bit more composure being shown. I think ultimately, like Olis, though, getting those early 2 kills was what really set that round up. Here we go then, Tim. Round 11. It is potentially the final one if Fury can get the business done.
Could be. And to be honest, over the last couple of rounds, since, you know, those bits of technical problems that we had and the bit of back and forth getting back into the game, Fury have actually looked really good since coming back. They've won 2 rounds in a row. As I've said so far, no team has been able to win 3 in a row so far here on Border, so Fury are going to have to do that if they want to lock this out here and now. But it doesn't really matter too much if they don't. They've got 2 opportunities to get this one shut down, get Border, and move themselves on to Skyscraper. Like I say, looking good so far over the last couple of rounds. I don't know, that technical pause just seems to have steadied them a little bit, and they've come back in with a bit of a renewed vigour.
It has, but now you're going to see the real Punisher coming on the other side in the form of that monster. You've got the Capital on side as well. This just feels like you're really throwing the kitchen sink at them at this point. Like, Capital now isn't really seen as one of the stronger operators in the game. Personally, I think he's ridiculously powerful. The fact you've got 2 smokes, 2 AoE clearers in the form of the Firebolts, a decent weapon, 3 speed, like, brings so much to a lineup. And I know it's kind of niche where teams make use of him, but really think when you see one on side, you've got to be so mindful of keeping him alive until you get towards a critical location where you want to make use of him. But come on, man. Like, it's a 1 speed. Like, you should hear this guy from a mile away. At least PLK gets one back, but Tim, they're already in and planting. Okay. C4, alley-oop, but the Monty blocks it, so who cares?
Well played. Well played. That's going to be the diffuser down. Monty stood in front of it, as you've said, Des. This really should be Fury's now. BLK, however, manages to pick up BG. Man, he's been a little bit quiet over the last few rounds compared to how he has been throughout the game so far. But maybe he can save his biggest moment for last. 2 versus 3 now. Atlas managing to get the last of those kills. There's the jump out. They're going to get it done somehow. Knights managed to turn it around. We thought it was looking like it was over there, Des. They got the diffuser down, but no, Knights, they fight tooth and nail to get that one done, and still no team can lock down 3 rounds in a row.
What's BG Man doing, like, holding an aggressive angle? There is literally 0 need. You've got a Monty feeding you information for free that will tell you when to swing, when someone's getting too aggressive, when they've gone past the point of no return, that they are no longer set to be safe. I mean, I was saying GG because I don't think I've ever really seen a team lose from that kind of position, but somehow Fury have just shown that it is very possible. We could be on for overtime, Tim. It is heading that way.
One more round is all it will take. It has to go in the direction of Knights. We are at least going to see all 12 here. Fury, they're going to be kicking themselves after that one, I think. Like you said, as diffuser down, Monty stood on top of it. It's really not a position that you should be losing from. I think they just, when Knights got aggressive then, it looked like Fury panicked a little bit. When they were willing to get up in the Monty's face and try and pressure him, it was like, oh, we need to start finding some kills, we need to protect the Monty. When really, all they needed to do was just sort of let the Monty back away. Like you say, if they hadn't been so aggressive, they could have had that jump out covered. It's a common jump out. You go out of office window to shoot the Monty in the back. It's like, you know, it's such a common thing. So just make sure you've got that window covered, and honestly, you win the round. Like, let the Monty do the rest.
Well, one that they'll be kicking themselves for if they now go on to lose this map, but Knights have been handed a golden opportunity. Admittedly not handed, they had to fight for it, and they played it extremely well, but they've now got a golden opportunity to still win this map. On the attacking side, nothing too flash coming out in terms of lineup here, sort of standard stuff that we're used to seeing. Across on the defensive side, I'm looking towards BLK on that Oryx team. We already saw some work that was done by Tuku in round 8, getting inside of CC and being able to charge across into West Main and slaughter 2 players that stood there waiting. There is every opportunity for him to work some magic in this round, so I do want to keep a close eye on him because he has been having a fantastic map so far.
Just going to have the track stinger thrown out outside of Archive's window there. I think just looking to prevent the jump out that would, of course, hinder this position that they're trying to play on the external east stairs. Dark has managed to get inside of CCTV. The rotation was there, so Knights will get out of that position unscathed. Tom, once again, same spot that we saw him playing previously, down in around jail and supply, just trying to get any information, really. Is there anybody droning? Is there any gadgets being used out there? Is there anything that I can give to my team to tell them that they are playing on this side of the map? At the minute, there's not going to be anything.
Absolutely not, no. It slowly does it. Again, for Fury, it's the remark that I had earlier was their map clear wasn't the quickest. Here, not really the end of the world, given the proximity to site that Border often invites. Only a couple of rooms to work through before you are staring at a plant opportunity. Not tons of map really to work your way through. And things like, you know, BG Man playing on the gridlock really helps with that. So many tracks that you can just toss down and stop jump out, stop rotations, or at the very least give yourself information that one of those 2 things is coming. Just makes the game a hell of a lot easier for the attack inside. They've still got nades on side to play with. They've still got the juice coming in from the Finker as well. Loads to work with here.
They know that they've kind of got their army stuck here in the corner. Can't really move away. Tuku did manage to actually drop back a bookcase deeper, so could maybe escape with some quick movement. Nade comes in, and I think they were thinking they might just get the kill onto Tuku there, but no. His swift feet had been able to get him out of dodge. BLK comes around. He's going to be able to make his way back to site by the looks of things, potentially. He's just trying to support Tom for the time being, but he does the job. Manages to flip over to the pistol, gets the kill. Atlas manages to find one as well. 4 versus 3. Knights are holding on.
35 seconds to go as well. Yeah, still freestanding into the 4 on the side of Knights, but Garadeus dangerously low at this point. Dark stepping up as the hero, finds one. A second with a well-timed nade. They might have just done enough here, Tim, to drag it away despite Knights being 4v3 a couple of seconds ago. It's down to a 2 versus 2. Every opportunity for either side to walk away with this one. Dark whiffing a few shots onto Tom's feet. He dances around. BG into one more. It's all down to Tom. He's been the great disruptor, but he can't do it. BG nets the 3K.